Welcome to Hidden Horizons, a place where the most fascinating and overlooked tales from world history are dusted off and shared with you. Here, we venture quietly through time, letting calm narration reveal secrets and mysteries buried beneath the surface. If these journeys inspire you or spark your curiosity, remember to like and subscribe. Your support helps uncover more hidden stories from our global past. In this video, we unravel the quiet disappearance of a highly advanced prehistoric civilization in Europe, a culture that faded not through war, but into silence. We'll listen closely to the echoes they left behind, piecing together daily life, rituals, and the mysterious clues scattered across mist-draped ruins and ancient forests. So settle in as the story gently unfolds before us through layers of earth and time. Chapter 1. Silent Echoes from the Past. Mist moves gently through old-growth forests, weaving around old trees and moss-covered stones. The first light of dawn softens the landscape, drawing long shadows where forgotten villages once stood. Here, silence does not mean absence. It is filled with the soft echoes of lives once lived, crafts once honed, voices that shaped an age we can only glimpse through clues left behind. You inhale the fresh, earthy air of the ancient woodland, feeling history hidden beneath your feet. Every root winding through the soil, every stone, may hold memories of a time long before written words. As you pause, the world grows still, inviting you to listen closer. It is as if the forest breathes old stories, patient and waiting, merging the present with echoes from a distant, invisible past. With each step deeper into the woods, the boundaries blur between now and then. The subtle chill on your skin and the gentle murmur of unseen streams evoke an age when these lands thrived with people whose presence was woven into the landscape. Their tools, their dwellings, and their beliefs left faint impressions in the earth, quiet reminders of a time when this region pulsed with hidden everyday life. As the mist curls over ancient stones, imagination awakens, conjuring shapes of houses made from timber and clay, faint outlines of pathways trampled by forgotten feet. The chorus of birds blends with the imagined voices of those who built communities here. There is a rhythm to the silence among the trees, as if the past lingers in every dew-covered branch, ever so softly asking to be remembered. Standing amidst these quiet ruins, you sense more than emptiness. It feels as though the landscape itself remembers. Stones arranged in sacred circles and scattered potsherds speak their silent history. Here, nature and memory intertwine, inviting us not to solve every mystery, but to honor the gentle persistence of echoes that endure through the drift of generations and the hush of passing centuries. The air is thick with curiosity. What rituals once unfolded beneath these tangled branches? What laughter drifted through smoke-filled houses or along winding footpaths? The answers may be lost, yet the questions linger. In seeking them, you share in the longing of all who have wandered these forests, hoping to bridge the gulf between what was and what remains, a timeless quest written quietly into the land. Morning light grows brighter, illuminating toppled stone walls and faint earthworks barely visible beneath a patchwork of moss. Time itself seems to bend as we imagine artisans at work, children at play, communities gathering by firelight. These gentle glimpses into vanished days allow us to view each remnant not just as evidence, but as a doorway to deep reflection on our place within history's silent tapestry. As this chapter settles towards its close, let the silence speak to you of resilience, of change, of stories that shape lands quietly and last for ages. With curiosity awakened and senses attuned, you prepare to journey deeper into the vanished world, guided only by what remains, the soft footprints, the gentle echoes, and the timeless call of a civilization that thrived before fading, not with conflict, but with quiet mystery. Chapter 2. Unearthing the Forgotten People. Beneath layers of time and silent soil, archaeologists stumbled upon traces of a long-lost culture. Deliberate digs revealed not only earth-stained walls, but intricate pottery shards, carefully placed as if waiting to be found. The air was thick with quiet wonder, as each artifact suggested an organized society, telling a story far different from those shaped by conflict and war. Pottery emerged first, curved vessels marked with swirling designs and symbols that seemed far older than the soil that wrapped them. Each fragment became a whisper from the past, revealing that these people valued artistry and ceremony. Without any traces of battle or destruction, the pottery spoke instead of peaceful living, a lifestyle focused on creation, beauty, and shared tradition rather than defense. Alongside pottery, specialized tools were unearthed: finely chipped stone blades, smooth bone needles, and carved figurines. These were items that hinted at daily life of hunting, weaving, and perhaps ritual gatherings. Excavations grew wider, and soon the foundations of large dwellings emerged. These settlements, often set atop gentle hills, formed orderly layouts, houses grouped around central courtyards, storage pits neatly aligned, and communal spaces that invited gatherings. The absence of defensive structures, a rarity in early Europe, became a quiet puzzle. Here was evidence of a people who lived with an unusual assurance of safety. Curiously, archaeologists found no weapons among these settlements, no arrowheads stockpiled for conflict, no remnants of city walls or battered shields. Instead, they experienced the gentle echoes of a society guided by cooperation. Such discoveries challenged long-standing ideas that early societies survived only through struggle, urging researchers to reconsider the quiet power of peaceful communities. The intricate patterns etched onto pottery and tools drew specialists from across Europe. Some saw meanings in the repeating circles or zigzag marks, spiritual beliefs, maps, or messages meant to last beyond memory. Each artifact became a clue, leading researchers to piece together a forgotten language of form and function, inviting new questions about how people once related to each other and the world around them. Among the settlement remains, bones of domesticated animals were uncovered alongside storage jars still flecked with traces of ancient grains. These findings spoke of planned agriculture and animal husbandry, a stable life with abundant food, shared responsibility, and little sign of struggle. The people didn't just survive, they flourished in harmony, their daily routines carefully shaped by nature's cycles. As more structures were revealed, subtle signs of artistry appeared everywhere: coloured pigments on walls, delicately carved amulets tucked beneath flooring, beads and adornments woven into clothing. It was clear these were not simply survivors, but creators, a community that celebrated expression, leaving behind subtle beauty for others to decipher. Theirs was a legacy of grace, now slowly coming back to light. The growing collection of artifacts quietly contradicted earlier histories that imagined prehistoric Europe as harsh and violent. Instead, these discoveries hinted at a different reality, one defined by trust, shared knowledge, and connection to the earth. As archaeologists catalogued each new find, their excitement grew. What else, they wondered, remained hidden beneath centuries of silence and earth? With every new dig, the mystery of this vanished civilization deepened. Unearthed relics formed a tapestry of innovation and tranquility, challenging every assumption about the past. In the calm persistence of these discoveries, echoes of a gentle society rose from the soil, urging us to reconsider what it means to endure, to vanish, and to be remembered across the ages. Chapter 3: The World They Built. Imagine a society where daily life flowed in harmony with the world around them. Here, in gentle valleys and along glittering rivers, people gathered in small, close-knit communities. Their settlements, thoughtful and well-planned, formed gentle clusters bordered by communal fields and shared gardens. The pace was calm, each day shaped by the rhythms of nature, their homes blending seamlessly into the earth's embrace. Their architecture was more than shelter. It was a quiet reflection of their values. Houses rose from sun-baked clay and woven reeds, sturdy yet gentle on the land. Circular layouts encouraged a sense of togetherness and provided space for shared rituals or evening gatherings. Every wall and walkway was shaped not just by hands, but by a spirit that cherished cooperation and peace with nature's cycles. Beyond their dwellings, the landscape blossomed under careful hands. Agriculture flourished, as these people understood how to nurture the land without exhausting it. Fields of grain waved in gentle breezes, and fruit-bearing trees dotted the borders of their villages. Harvests were shared and celebrated together, a testament to trust and the central role of community in every meal. Their resourcefulness was both practical and quietly profound, Artistic expression was everywhere, woven into the fabric of ordinary days. Pottery bore swirling patterns and gentle colours drawn from earth and riverbanks. Figures carved in clay hinted at stories, gods and dreams. Murals danced along walls showing animals, spirals and the cycles of life. Through these creations their beliefs whispered to us, a silent thread binding generations in purpose and memory. Spirituality was not distant or hidden. It was woven directly into their daily existence. Sacred symbols adorned doorways, marking protection and hope. Hidden shrines, filled with figurines or carefully placed stones, offered quiet places for reflection. Ceremonies honouring the earth and ancestors brought families and neighbours together, fostering gratitude for land, life, and the unseen patterns guiding them. The evidence left behind suggests their world was built on cooperation rather than conquest. Tools, fashioned from stone and bone, reveal an inventiveness dedicated to creation, not destruction. Worn grinding stones and cracked cooking pots tell stories of feasts and everyday labours shared. Rather than walls or weapons, we find symbols in communal spaces, a culture more focused on coming together than keeping others out. Settlement layouts echoed their broader philosophy. Paths wound gently between homes, connecting everyone without barriers. Central gathering places, perhaps for storytelling or music, formed the heart of each village. Fields and workshops lined the outskirts, showing a delicate balance between private life and collective responsibility. The physical world mirrored their trust and interdependence with one another. Nature was partner and inspiration, not something to be conquered. Rivers served as lifelines for travel and trade, but also as boundaries respected in myth and ritual. Forests provided wood and food, yet sacred groves were always preserved, left wild for spirits or ancestors. Each season brought its own festivals, blessings and songs, strength drawn from a world embraced, not subdued. Their resourcefulness can be traced in every relic we uncover. Woven textiles from plant fibres, intricate beadwork and dyes made from roots or ochre all reveal a reverence for natural bounty and skilled hands shaping beauty from simple things. Even discarded fragments, buried for millennia, hint at ingenuity and careful stewardship that allowed the culture to thrive across generations. As we piece together these traces, admiration grows for a people who found harmony in shared purpose. There is wonder in imagining evening fires among clustered homes, laughter echoing under broad, starry skies. Theirs was a world built softly, with wisdom and respect for all that surrounded them, a civilization that flourished in quiet, enduring ways, now calling quietly to us through time's gentle veil. Chapter 4. Masters of Craft and Trade. In the gentle heart of prehistoric Europe, everyday life was shaped not only by survival, but by an enduring devotion to artistry. Here, the hands of patient artisans carefully shaped clay, fired kilns, and painted each vessel with symbols that held meaning for generations. Their traditions were passed from master to apprentice, forming the backbone of community and forging a legacy that weathered centuries. Their ceramics, delicately modelled and adorned, told the stories of families, seasons, and harvests. Every swirl and geometric pattern whispered of meaning, a silent language that spoke through centuries. Walking among their scattered shards today, it is easy to sense the care embedded in every curve, the pride these craftspeople took in transforming earth and water into objects that could endure both feasts and famine. Beyond the pottery wheels and communal kilns, these people wove tapestries of connection that stretched over hundreds of miles. Pottery fragments and obsidian blades found far from their original sources reveal a network of trade that linked distant villages and unfamiliar tribes, enabling not just goods, but also new ideas and customs to flow from valley to valley. Trade was not simply barter, it was a lifeline and a curiosity. In clay jars and woven baskets, goods travelled with stories and songs. Amber from the Baltic, copper from distant mountains, and shells from faraway coasts all found their way into quiet European settlements. Each of these treasures tells a story of journeys taken under starlit skies, driven by both necessity and wonder. Yet, these trade routes formed more than economic arteries. They stitched together cultures across forests and foothills, weaving a patchwork of languages and beliefs. Each transaction was often marked by rituals, invitations, and wary but hopeful greetings. The world these people knew was not isolated. It pulsed with distant voices, foreign colours, and exchanged both the visitor and the visited. The legacy of their artistry is found in the subtle fingerprints impressed on clay, the signature of a potter who never signed their work but left their mark all the same. Some pieces shimmered with dark, polished finishes, while others displayed intricate incisions filled with white paste. The ingenuity in their techniques spoke of both experimentation and tradition, of nimble hands guided by inherited knowledge. As we pause to admire their work, a deep sense of patience emerges. Every vessel, every traded stone, reveals a slow, deliberate process. The rhythm of their days can still be heard in how they measured, carved, and painted, in small acts of creation repeated until perfection became habit, teaching us how mastery can emerge from devotion, practiced quietly over time. These people understood that the beauty of an object was matched by its usefulness. Bowls and storage jars preserved grain and water, while decorative cups accompanied feasts and farewells. Their artisans walked the line between the practical and the poetic, balancing the needs of life with the urge to create, so that function and elegance were never far apart. In every fragment uncovered by modern archaeologists, there is evidence of a world deeply connected through craft. Some ceramics bear traces of pigments not local to their regions, suggesting journeys long forgotten and hands that welcomed the unknown. In these relics we find a testimony both to a thriving community and to a world more interconnected than we may expect for its age. Reflecting on their achievements, we discover people who looked outward as much as inward. Their lives were not marked by conquest, but by the steady shaping of earth and the sharing of goods with unseen neighbours. Their silent ingenuity shines through millennia, inviting us to see how even in distant, vanished settlements, humanity crafted meaning with gentle hands and open hearts. Chapter 5. Whispers in the Earth. Beneath layers of ancient soil, echoes of a vanished people linger in the forms of their spiritual and symbolic artifacts. These are not loud declarations, but gentle whispers, a silent legacy carved into stone and clay. As we follow these traces, let us wander quietly with reverence, seeking the hidden stories they offer and the mysteries that lie beneath our feet. Scattered across forgotten fields and forests are mysterious figurines, each one shaped by ancient hands, each bearing a presence that hints at something sacred. Their forms, sometimes human, sometimes animal, sometimes neither, draw us into the inner worlds of those who created them. Were they guardians, prayers, or representations of something beyond? No one knows for certain. We are left to listen to the silent language of these enigmatic shapes. Carved stones rest in circles and lines, arranged with care and intention by minds that found meaning in their placement. Some stones stand upright, others are buried deep, and together they seem to mark the boundary between the everyday and the extraordinary. What stories were etched into their surfaces by the passage of time, wind, and weather? In their quiet presence, we sense both ritual and mystery. Burial sites offer the most profound of silent testimonies. Beneath mounds of grass and earth, the people laid their loved ones with offering shells, beads, and pottery fragments. Each item chosen was heavy with meaning. Were these gifts for a journey beyond, or tokens of remembrance? The act of burial speaks to a reverence for life and an unspoken hope for something after. As we stand before these ancient graves, the air feels still and expectant. It is as if the earth itself holds its breath, protecting the secrets of those who came before. The care shown in the arrangement of bodies and objects reveals a belief in the sacredness of passage, a desire to honour ancestors and perhaps to communicate with realms unseen. It is a hush we are invited to honour. Some figurines fit gently in the palm, their features smoothed by time. Holding them, we grasp not just an artefact, but the echo of a forgotten hand, a silent conversation that bridges centuries. These figures stir questions of identity, of motherhood, companionship, or faith, each one a meditation on what mattered most in a world long vanished from sight. Symbols carved into stone and bone create a language that is lost to us. Spirals, circles, mysterious patterns each mark deliberate, each line shaped with care. Their meanings are clouded, but their purpose is clear, to connect, remember, or perhaps to invoke forces invisible. These carvings draw us into contemplation, inviting us to face the limits of what can be known and what must remain a mystery. Larger ritual spaces sometimes appear a ring of stones, a clearing in the trees, or an alignment with sun and stars. These places invite us to imagine ceremonies under drifting clouds, voices raised in song or silent meditation. The land becomes a canvas for their beliefs, every element charged with symbolism and wonder that lingers, barely audible in the quiet breeze. Some sites contain red ochre, sprinkled around bones or painted on rock. This vivid earth pigment carried special meaning, maybe as a symbol of life, blood, or rebirth. Its use suggests rituals beyond survival, the marking of bodies and places with colour to connect the world of the living with that of the spirits. Red ochre whispers of rituals now faded, yet its hue still glows in ancient earth. All these artifacts, figurines, stones, graves, and pigments form a silent record of a vanished worldview. They do not speak directly, but their presence tells us that the people who made them loved, mourned, and believed deeply in something greater. In these hushed remnants we glimpse a civilization whose spiritual imagination continues to stir quietly beneath the surface of the earth. Chapter 6. A Tranquil Existence. Unlike the turmoil that rippled through many prehistoric cultures, their world whispers of peace. Settlements reveal no broken walls, scattered weapons, or grim burial sites scarred by violence. Instead, homes cluster gently together, as if comforted by the company of neighbours. The absence of war is not just chance, but a quiet legacy written in the earth itself, a testament to human cooperation in an age-long past. Walking among the remnants of their villages, one senses a different rhythm of life. Here, the ordinary tells a powerful story. Clay pots, woven baskets, and simple tools, all left behind in calm order. There is no trace of hasty evacuation, no signs of chaos or fear. It invites a lingering question. How did these people foster such a tranquil existence, untouched by the storms that raged elsewhere in early Europe? Every artifact reveals a society shaped by balance, not by the scars of conquest. The rich decorations on pottery speak to time spent in creativity, not in defence. Communal hearths hint at shared meals and laughter. As archaeologists sift through layers of centuries, the absence of weapons and fortifications calls out, this was not a community hardened by conflict, but one bound together by more gentle ties. In many ancient places, the soil yields the story of struggle. Swords sunk deep, shattered shields buried with the lost. Yet here, quiet fields cradle only the simple tools of daily life. Their settlements were open, with no walls to guard against unseen enemies. What might this openness have meant? Perhaps cooperation created bonds too strong for threats to break, weaving a tapestry of trust between neighbours. The environment gave much, and so they did not wage war over scarce resources. Rivers brought fish, and fertile plains fed their families, fostering harmony rather than envy. In the oldest parts of Europe, where violence once seemed the rule, this culture turned instead to shared abundance. Their society becomes a gentle contraster, rare chapter where peace was not a dream, but a daily reality. As dusk settled each night, fires would burn softly in the heart of their homes. There was safety in those warm lights, a calm that rarely visited neighbouring tribes. The rhythm of their lives followed the seasons, and disputes were solved with words, not weapons. What we discover in their ruins is a collective hope, a belief that community could flourish without the hunger for dominance. Harmony is seldom accidental. As archaeologists carefully document each structure and street, patterns emerge, trails of cooperation, of people working together in routine tasks and celebrations. Absence of trauma in their buried remains suggests lives lived fully, not cut short by war. These traces are subtle, but they illuminate a society where compassion and mutual respect form the very backbone of civilization. Stories from other places speak of fortified gates, anxious watchmen, and the ever-present shadow of invasion. Here, those old fears seem distant. Their dwellings nestle peacefully on open land, evidence of a trust that is both rare and remarkable. The collective spirit of this culture echoes through time and invitation to imagine a world where unity triumphed over division and understanding over conflict. The tranquility of their existence lingers in the very air. Even now, standing among weathered stones and sunlit fields, one feels the absence of anguish. No charred remains, no mass graves, only ordinary lives flourishing quietly. It is a powerful message from the past, a reminder that entire peoples once chose peace and that their legacy can still inspire our hearts today. In reflecting on this chapter of history, we realize the value of what they built, not grand monuments or bloody victories, but a life rooted in harmony. The quiet strength of this society leaves us with questions, but also with hope. Could we learn from their example? Might peace flourish again if we remember the lessons hidden in their tranquil existence? Chapter 7. The Gathering Clouds. Over time, faint signs drifted through the valleys and fields once bustling with life. The land, though still generous, grew slightly less predictable. There were quieter mornings when the birdsong thinned and the wind carried whispers of change. Grain harvests seemed a little smaller than before, and the rivers, at times, ran a touch slower. Yet nothing shouted alarm, only the soft suggestion of something shifting. Communities noticed, quietly, that the air was sometimes thicker, as if carrying news from distant places. Families, who had long dwelled in the same stone homes, began to consider moving their flocks and herds. At night, stories were told around the fires of distant lands, of strangers arriving and neighbours leaving without fanfare. The sense of belonging remained, but the undertone of change was impossible to ignore. Through these rolling days, the seasons themselves appeared to shift. Winters stretched just a bit longer, while springs arrived unevenly, painting fields with uncertain colours. Some wells yielded less, and fish were harder to find in trusted streams. No catastrophe arrived at once, but the people felt the gentle unravelling, a tapestry loosening, its threads drawn slowly apart by unseen hands. Everyday routines, passed down through generations, started to feel incomplete. Old methods for planting and gathering brought smaller rewards. Elders, wise in the world's quiet patterns, looked to the sky with furrowed brows, sensing secrets in the movements of cloud and wind. Even the children, usually oblivious to subtle changes, found the games of their grandparents no longer suited the growing uncertainty. Travellers began appearing at the village, eject-eyed and cautious, searching for fresh water or new shelter. Their stories mingled with local tales, speaking of distant lands where harvests failed, or where dry winds swept away topsoil. None could say where the troubles began, or if they would end. These tales, shared softly by lamplight, settled among the people like a persistent shadow. Resourcefulness blossomed in response. Gardens transformed into experiments, fields were replanted with hardier grains, new tools were fashioned from familiar stones, and cooperation across families grew stronger than before. Yet the sense of unease never left entirely. It hovered just out of sight, like an ancient fog wanting to settle but never fully claiming the land. Despite their efforts, there were times when rain fell less readily, and wild animals hesitated to return to old hunting grounds. The rivers, once loud and full of life, sometimes trickled quietly, exposing stones and secrets long hidden. The people could not remember a time quite like this, but no one declared a crisis. Instead, there was a gentle resignation. Life as they knew it was subtly evolving. In the evenings, as the sun set behind misty hills, the elders gathered younger ones in circles. They spoke of cycle cirths, endless turns, and the mysteries that sometimes followed without cause or warning. The people listened, comforted by the thought that uncertainty had shaped them before, and would again. But the air was coloured by a wistful longing for times when all felt certain. No battle lines divided friend from friend. There was no roar of war horses or smoke of flame. Instead, the change came quietly, with families drifting towards safer valleys or chasing the promise of richer soil. Homes were left standing, tools remained where they were last set down. All spoke of a transition as natural as the changing of the light at dusk. In the deepest part of night, when all was still, the old land seemed to sigh. Its people, shaped by patience and adaptation, faded peacefully into history, leaving behind carved stones and silent fields. The full truth of their fading slipped into legend, tangled in the gentle clouds that gathered over their empty villages, forever keeping the core of their mystery safe from certainty. Chapter 8. The Vanishing. In the heart of these quiet ruins, nature reclaims what humankind once built. Grasses curl through broken windows, and ivy weaves silently over old stone walls. The emptiness is profound, yet there are no scorch marks, no shattered doors, no signs of battle or fire. Instead, a gentle hush lingers an invitation for us to wonder how an entire civilization slipped away so softly. Chapter 8. The Vanishing. Throughout these forgotten dwellings, the only witnesses are the thickening moss and roots spreading luxuriously across floors and hearths. The silence evokes not tragedy, but quiet acceptance. 1,000 lives once animated these spaces, now replaced by the tranquil breath of wind and the persistent life of wildflowers. No stories of conquest linger here, just the subtle erosion of time, leaving memory behind like gentle footprints. The furniture, left untouched, gathers dust in the remnants of kitchens and gathering rooms. Sunlight filters through collapsed beams, illuminating tiny motes that drift in the stagnant air. Here, there is no panic recorded, only small, almost deliberate gestureza pots set on a table, chairs carefully pushed in, a door left ajar. The details hint at daily life continuing, then quietly fading, as if people simply drifted away. Birdsong replaces distant laughter, and the hum of bees takes over the stories once told by firelight. These dwellings became echo chambers for nature's renewal. Saplings burst through floorboards that once felt the weight of many footsteps. It is a scene without finality, more a gradual letting go than an abrupt end. The gradual overgrowth speaks of months, maybe years, where absence becomes the dominant presence. The sense of loss is softened by the abundance of life returning. Where there were once markets and voices, now small animals nest in forgotten corners. Tree roots pry apart old bricks, creating new patterns over human-made order. Theresa piece to these transformations, as if the world neither mourns nor celebrates, but gently unfolds what was. Civilization's end here feels like dusk, gentle and slow, instead of a storm, instead of a storm, instead of a storm. There are no legends of a great catastrophe, no epic tales of downfall. Instead, the evidence lies in what is: missing shoes left by doorways, tools hung on pegs, unfinished tasks awaiting return. The absence becomes its own kind of story, one in which lives were lived fully, then slipped away without warning or spectacle. The world washes over these traces, softening sharp memories into indistinct echoes of life. Imagine walking these long empty corridors, where the air is tinged with earth and old wood. Every creak and whisper of wind seems to hold a secret, yet nothing answers. There is awe in the ordinariness left behind, in the plates still set on tables and the walls that once echoed with song. These remnants are not haunted by fear, but by a gentle emptiness, a space shaped by impermanence and acceptance. Even the artifacts tell quiet stories: potsherds half buried in loam, woven baskets softened by decades of rain and sun. Each item remains exactly where it once mattered, as though life paused mid-motion. No one returned to reclaim these objects, but neither did anyone scatter them in haste. Instead, there is only stillness, and with it, a mysterious sense of completion and ending without disaster. A closing chapter written in silence. This is the paradox of the vanished civilization: abundance without presence, design without activity. The calm that lingers is neither comforting nor unsettling. It asks us to imagine not how things ended, but how they simply changed. There is humility in nature's quiet reclamation, and in the persistent beauty that emerges from what was left behind. As we witness this stillness, we recognize impermanence as both mystery and inevitability. It is here, among the fallen beams and sunlit vines, that the story ends not with loss, but with transformation. What was once bustling and purposeful now belongs to the earth again. Through these overgrown thresholds we glimpse the peaceful surrender of a civilization, the gentle ebbing of a world, leaving behind echoes to inspire wonder within us across the centuries. This is the vanishing, without violence or regret, only a lasting silence. Chapter 9. Remnants and Reflections. As the echoes of this lost civilization fade, all that remains are the artifacts silently nestled in the earth, the landscapes that once hummed with gentle life, and the subtle traces of a people at peace. In these remnants there is a quiet invitation to wonder. What can we learn from the gentle imprint left behind, and how might it still shape us today? Stone tools resting beneath layers of moss, pottery decorated with symbols long forgotten, and traces of dwellings gently reclaimed by time. These silent survivors of an ancient world whisper of creativity and order woven harmoniously with the natural world. Their presence draws us closer, urging us to regard the landscape not just as background, but as witness and participant in the unfolding story of those who once called it home. Consider, for a moment, the landscapes themselves. Rolling hills softened by mist, rivers tracing pathways that once connected distant communities. Each feature shaped daily life, shaping how people gathered, farmed, and celebrated under open skies. Even now, these landforms recall a time when humanity moved gently across the earth, leaving behind only footprints that nature graciously reclaimed with each passing century. Legacy often lingers quietly, not through grand monuments but in subtler forms. A way of working the land, a pattern etched in stone, a belief that peace is strength. The artifacts left behind are humble messengers from a vanished world, each inviting us to ask, how do we choose what to remember, and what small pieces of ourselves might echo into the far future, unchanged by war or conquest? Their peacefulness was not merely the absence of conflict, but a way of life woven into the daily rhythm of seasons, sunrise and harvest. The evidence of careful craftsmanship, shared rituals, and mutual respect lives on in remnants unearthed by time. Through these pieces, we are left to ponder. Is it possible for a society to thrive so gently that its ending leaves barely a trace of sorrow or violence? Reflections ripple outward across centuries, touching those who study and wonder today. The missing voices of this lost civilization encourage us to listen closely, not only to what is spoken in records and legends, but to what is unsaid, to the spaces between stones, the pauses in history. There is wisdom here, waiting to be gathered, as enduring as the earth and as ephemeral as mist. Sometimes what endures are not great battles or powerful rulers, but the ways people shaped their world together. These fleeting marks offer a different kind of legacy, one that slips past the loud histories of conquest, inviting us to cherish gentleness, adaptability, and quiet cooperation. Even as the reasons for their disappearance remain uncertain, the gifts they left are not diminished by mystery. The story of their vanishing is not a tale of tragedy, but of transformation, the slow blending of cultures, knowledge, and customs into the currents of a wider world. Artifacts are more than relics, they are points of connection, guiding us to deeper awe and empathy. Perhaps their true influence lives on, not by what they held tightly, but by what they gave and allowed to pass unseen. Standing quietly before the remnants a carved figurine, a fragment of pottery feels the closeness of lives, separated by ages, yet joined by curiosity and longing. In the hush that follows, there is space to reflect on our own place in history, and how the legacies we leave may one day be understood not by their volume, but by the quiet wisdom they contain. As we reach the final echoes of this lost civilization, we are left with questions rather than answers, and perhaps that is fitting. Their story flows forward in subtle ways, shaping how we see peace, memory, and the passage of time. In the soft persistence of remnant and reflection, their world invites us to walk softly, honouring the mystery and tranquility they left behind. Chapter 10. The Unseen Horizon. As our story draws to a close, let us pause and gaze out toward the horizons that remain just beyond our grasp. Much of humanity's tale is still buried untouched by the hands of time, waiting for curious hearts and gentle wonder to uncover its secrets. Each artifact lost, each silent ruin, is like a star shining faintly in faraway skies. Consider for a moment how many layers of history lie hidden beneath the surface of our world. For every legend we know, dozens more remain veiled by forgotten earth and silent shadows. The vanished civilization we explored is only one thread in a tapestry woven long before written words. Their stories echo faintly through the stones, whispering of lives we can barely imagine. In gazing back through the mists of time, we find ourselves humbled. Human history is vast, mysterious, and often incomplete. Even the ancient artifacts left behind are only fragments, glimpses into hearts and minds we will never fully know. Yet it is in those unanswered questions that our sense of awe grows. Our curiosity leads us onwards, always searching. Each new discovery kindles a spark in the imagination. Who were these people? What dreams did they carry? Why do some stories endure, while so many are swallowed by the tides of time? As we walk old paths or hold an object shaped by ancient hands, we remember that our world is layered with invisible histories waiting patiently to be revealed. Perhaps the most powerful lesson is that mystery itself is a gift. Not knowing everything about the past reminds us to look on the present with fresh eyes. What hidden wonders surround us today, living quietly in the shadows of what seems familiar? The unknown does not diminish what we find. Instead, it deepens the magic of discovery. Let the vanished civilization be a gentle invitation to listen closely, to look carefully, and to honor those whose stories remain untold. Every culture, whether preserved in legend or lost in silence, shapes the human story. By seeking what is hidden, we show respect for worlds that once were, and open ourselves to new possibilities. Even as our narrative ends, the journey is far from over. With each question we ask, we step a little closer to understanding, but we also learn the beauty in not knowing. The unseen horizon invites us onward, promising that the next discovery may wait just beneath our feet, or in the quiet lines of old stone walls. Stories like the one we've uncovered remind us of the wonder that rests in all beginnings and endings. It teaches us to see every landscape as a mosaic shaped by countless lives, and every relic as a whisper from the depths of time. By listening carefully, we can awaken the past, if only for a moment, in our own hearts. As you step away tonight, may you carry with you a sense of quiet awe for all that remains hidden beneath the surface of our world. Let your curiosity linger. Question what lies beyond the edges of certainty. For in wondering, we honor those forgotten stories and keep their light alive for another day. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the unseen horizon. May these quiet mysteries inspire you to see familiar places in you, listening for the silent echoes of ancient lives. Our shared past is full of untold stories waiting for minds like yours to imagine, explore, and remember. Until next time, keep your heart open to wonder.